How many of us have been taking listings? Okay, taking any listings?
Working on it.
Working on it? Working on it? Okay. So we're going to be talking about taking listings. One of the things that I always encourage agents, should I focus on buyers? Should I focus on sellers? Should I focus on them equally? Ever think about that? I mean, we're in the real estate business, and you work with buyers, and you work with
Sellers.
Yeah. So, does it make sense to focus on either one? What
What
do you
I've always
think?
been told is get the listings because that's where it's at, especially when you're new. But if you have
Okay.
a buyer that's flops in your hand,
Okay,
I
good,
think you should take
good,
advantage of that.
okay. A lot of people will do open houses. Open houses, typically, who am I meeting?
Buyers.
Buyers. Okay. Okay. So, let me ask you this. How many of you have shown buyers homes? Okay. Do they buy the very first home you show them?
No.
I wish. Every now and then it happens. But it's rare. Do they buy the second home you show them?
Probably not.
Usually you
Odds are a
show
little bit
them. Okay. So would you say that buyers can take a lot of your time? They can. Can't they? Okay. But when they buy, I mean, goodness gracious. It's good, right? It's a commission.
Yeah.
But now let me ask you, once you've got a listing, what do you have to go with them every day and talk to them about their listing? No. Do you have to talk to them every single week? You should. You should. But you're not involved with them all the time until something happens. In fact, most of what you're doing is you're reporting back to them. And now here's the other thing. When you are working with a buyer, do they have a sign that says, hey, you should work with Ken, he's my agent? Of course not. What are you talking about? No. But let me ask you this. When you take a listing, does that house have a sign that has your name and your phone number on it?
Yes.
You see?
More marketing.
Can you see the difference here? So, a buyer takes more time. A buyer doesn't wear a banner that has my name and my phone number on it. But a listing doesn't take as much time once I've got them. Now, when an offer comes in and all of that, yeah, there's going to be a lot of time. But it's not the same amount of demand on my time that a buyer is. So does that mean that buyers are no good? Not at all. Not at all. But listings will create buyers, but buyers don't create more business like sellers do. Okay? So, my challenge to you, yes, I want to work with buyers and sellers, but I want to put my focus on listings. Okay? That's how I build a strong real estate profession, is with listings. So if I would just encourage you, kind of keep that mindset, and that'll help you to really build a business. Typically, here's what I find. I haven't found anybody that can work with more than 5 buyers at one time. And let me tell you, that's a full-time job. Okay? How many listings could you work with at one time?
20, 30, 40. More.
Think of that. And every one of those 10, 20, 30 has got what in front of it?
Sign.
Your marketing.
Yes. 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 Yeah. So just something to keep in mind, as you're building your business, as you're focusing on, okay, what should I do for lead generation? Should I be looking for buyers? Absolutely. Should I only be focusing on buyers, or should I constantly be redirecting my marketing focus on sellers?
Okay, definitely.
Okay. So, one of the things that I also want to do every time I meet with somebody is I want to leverage my connection with them. Would that be fair? And what do I mean by leverage my connection with them?
Ask for referrals.
Bingo. Very good. And how do I do that? What are some scripts? Anybody have some scripts for me?
Yeah.
I meet a buyer. Okay, I meet a buyer and I'm talking to the buyer, and the buyer says, yeah, we're not working with anybody. When should I ask them to refer me business? After we buy something?
No, during the process.
Ah,
Always.
as we are connecting, those are the best times to ask for business. Hey, I've really enjoyed working with you guys today. I'll have some more houses for us to look at tomorrow. Could I ask you a question? Pause.
Sure.
Yeah, what? What? Hey, I'm continuing to build my business and I'm always looking for good clients. Would you be willing to keep me in mind if you come across anybody who's thinking of buying or selling a piece of real estate? Well, sure. Hey, could I ask you one more thing? If you did come across somebody, would you tell them that I would be getting back to them? And could you get their contact information and call me with it? Would you be willing to do that? What are most people going to say?
Yes.
Absolutely. Now what I've done is I've put in their mind how to send me a referral, haven't I? As opposed to, hey, would you refer me? Sure, okay. How often do people think of, let's see, I promised I'm going to refer somebody, I got to call him. They don't think that way unless I program that with that thought. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, our speaker just got here. Come on up, Chris. All right, man.
Alright, so this is recording with Loom right now, so just use my computer to log into your MLS and it'll do everything else for you.
Okay.
So Chris is going to show everybody how to pull comps and what kind of criteria he uses when he's doing that.
Yes.
And it's right in front of you.
So what's an address they want to use? Do you want to
Anybody
do an
have a
address? Listing coming up, listing appointment, opportunity, house been on the market a long time, you want to figure out how it should have been priced?
I just did that yesterday.
I don't know if Jeremy still has it up, but there was one on Spanish Dragon, and that would be a good one for your challenging comps.
Is that the one?
Georgetown.
Yeah,
I can go grab one in 20 seconds.
that's right, I'll pull one.
I know Jeremy has a lot of listings, so if you filter by agent name.
Yeah. I hate these questions. Okay, so the first and foremost, most important thing you're going to want to always do is go to the tax records. You're probably asking yourself, why am I going there to pull comps for a house? There's no comps on there. Well, the reason is you need to know exactly the real size of the house that you're comping. Square footage, all those kinds of things, which may not be reflected appropriately in the previous listing or what the seller told you. So we can get all that accurate information from the tax records. So it's really useful to go here and have this sitting next to you so you can always watch to compare.
Would it be easier for you if you had a mouse? I have corded mouse.
That's all right. I'll be good. Just trying to think of an address to use real quick. I want to do something in Fair Oaks, so. I'll just. We will go off of. Right.
You can do Jeremy's house, 8148 Pollard Avenue.
Okay, let's do that. 8148.
Pellard.
So it looks like we have a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,300 square feet, and a fairly large lot as well. So that's going to be a fun one. So I usually go to the interactive map. I think that's the best place to search for comps now. Before, a lot of the more old school agents would never use the interactive map because it was more of a new thing. However, I think this is the easiest and best way to go there. So you can start by searching in the street here, just to kind of get a center on kind of around where we're searching. This looks like, oh, I know where that is. Oh, it's a new house.
I got
Is
an
that a
address
tricky
for
one
you.
to comp?
No.
I got an address for you.
Do you?
Yep.
It's not a tricky one. It's just a new house. So.
5763.
Okay, we'll go with Roberts. Because his was built in, yeah. 5763.
Yep. Terrace Parkway. Loomis.
Okay, we can do that one. It's in development, so usually ones that are in developments like this are going to be a little easier, which is great. So 10,000 square foot lot, 1,700 square foot building, 3.3. Last sold for $145,000. That must have been nice.
Many years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Is this like a skin over the?
Yeah, you can take it off if it's more comfortable for you without it.
No, it's okay. Just figured it out. I was like, man, do they make these with these now?
Would you like a mouse?
I mean, it'd be easier, but at the same time, I just didn't want to. I don't know. Okay.
I have one too, pen that's a quartered one.
So the first thing you're going to click is search criteria up here and go down to the statuses. We want to pull at least, I like to pull at least 4 to 5 that are pending if we can. Sometimes you'll be limited to 3. In the worst case scenario, you might only have 2 or 1 pending if the neighborhood is small enough. If we have enough sold data to back it up, then we'll be good with that. See how pending bring back up? Thanks. Because usually to us that means generally the same thing. Just gonna close this. Yeah. On top of that, we're gonna want closed. You can safely go back 6 months easily to begin with. If there's not enough data, we go back further. I usually will start by going back a year and then dial back some of the comps. But to do that, you have to be really knowledgeable about what the market was doing. For example, if I was going back a year right now, we're in August right now, right? And as we remember, in the fourth quarter of 18, we had a really, really dark fourth quarter for houses, so we had a lot of discounts. So anything that was selling below list or very, very low compared to the rest of the comps, I'm going to count as an anomaly and add a certain amount percentage back. So if you're going to go back that far, just make sure that you actually knew the market to how far you're going back so you have an understanding of how the market was working. So you're not just like, yeah, seller, here's this one house that sold for a ton and this other one that sold for a ton and now our market shifted. Or on the vice side, say, we had this fourth quarter last year and all these houses were going way under, so we're going to price your house low because of that. We don't want to do that because that's inaccurate.
So safely to stay within that 6 months, it's pretty safe where you don't have to make any adjustments for the most part.
You'll still make some, just standard appreciation. So the other factor to know when you're pricing a home is to really know what our market has been appreciating year over year. And so, as you guys saw in the Ryan Lundquist slides, our market appreciation has slowed to about 4.55% year over year. Now that could change depending on neighborhoods. There's certain neighborhoods that are still appreciating on a radically fast pace. So basically we'll want to go through some of these houses and watch and say, okay, like if this one sold in March for $745 and we have another one that sold more recently for a lot more, we're going to go off that. So okay, but let's get something in here.
That Marietta Street, just so you know, is like a different subdivision than the rest.
Which one?
The one you just
Oh,
clicked
up
there,
here?
That street is a lot
Yeah.
more expensive than all the ones down below.
Single lane right there.
Yes.
Okay.
Separated from the rest.
Yes.
So I remember we're at 1,700 square feet, and it's important to keep in mind what appraisers will use. So an appraiser can do a variance of 20% of the square footage over or under. So when you're pricing homes for comps, I like to never go above 20% of the square footage over or under. So if it's 1,700, I'll just go to about 2,000 square feet on the top and about 1,400 on the bottom. And each of those is going to reflect slightly differently on that house. So I'm not going to take a 2,000 square foot comp and say, here, it's perfect comp. We just adjust the price accordingly to the price per square foot, but it helps us get a bigger figure. Because usually there's not going to be enough that are going to be the exact same square feet as what yours is. So we'll go into search criteria, and we're going to go bedrooms. I'll always start with 3 and 3, like the exact, and if I don't have enough data at that exact, I'll go up or down some. But if I have enough, I start with the exact. Same with baths. However, do you know anything about this house? Was it start with 3 baths or was one added?
I think it started with 3.
Okay. Because if it started with 2 and 1 was added, I'll still look at the two bathrooms because it's at that point an addition. We don't know the quality of the work yet because we haven't been to the house yet. We don't quite know how it's going to reflect. So if there's not many 3 baths because this one was an addition, then we need to look at the 2 baths too. And then we are going to go to this. We'll go 2,050 and 1,400. As you can see, that left us with 1 house. Really, really useful there. So I'm kind of thinking that the bedroom count needs to change a little bit, but I'll start with baths. So I think from that we can see that bathroom is probably added at some point. If there's only 1 3-bedroom or 3-bathroom that closed in there and it was this one. That's a 3.3, same square footage. So maybe not. I still don't have enough data there. That's not enough houses in my book to price a house at all. Not even close. We have 1 active, no pendings, and 6 solds. That's not really going to get us. Oh, the reason is we want to stay between Swetzer here, Humphrey, and King if we can, because that's essentially our neighborhood. Now, if I knew this area really well, if it was something I've been working on, I'd look out here and see if these are similar houses, because I would know that off the top of my head. Right now, I don't. Let's just say 350. And
Those are comparable.
yeah, are they?
Yeah.
Because the price shows that they're not, which is interesting. Oh, that one does. Okay. This one seems like an anomaly up here. So we'll use those two. We're going to go back to the beginning of the year and see if we add anything in. And then I also usually will add an expired and see if there's any that have fallen off, because I can use it as leverage to get a seller to price accordingly if I have to. Because I can show, hey, this one was priced at this and it actually did sell, it expired on the market. And canceleds you can as well, but you do have to put a filter for canceleds.
So how many are you looking for? 10 at least?
I ideally want to see 6 solds, 6 active, 6 pendings. Now, in this, we're not really going to find this here in this market, so it's a little more niche. But we want as much data as possible. And see, this is a big road too to cross. You don't want to cross that if you can avoid it. And that's this is like over by Homewood Building, right? This is a totally different development. I know that one. And this is different up here too. Totally different. Okay. So essentially, right now we have this neighborhood to work with. And going back in time isn't really going to get us any more solds. We already have 6 solds. So going back in time may not be the smartest, because it's not going to get us more actives and more pendings. It's going to get us more solds, which is what we have. We just don't have actives or pendings, which could be a really good sign, because the only one that your seller has to compete with is this one at 479, which is a 3.2, 1,400 square foot, which is way on the smaller side of what they are, I'm sure. And I have no idea how it looks in comparison. So the next thing I usually do, we'll go with these. What do you think, Kenneth? Is that what you would do? Mm-hmm. Okay. And we're going to draw a circle with this tool. It makes it a little bit easier. Generally, we do this in a neighborhood, citrus sites, where we have a lot of listings that we're going through. Like in, more lower priced, not Loomis, I'd draw the circle, we'd have 20-something listings. And so this allows us to go through them really easily. I usually then go to checked, and I check all of them. This allows me to go down the list. Oh, it's reverse mouse. And click each one, and then I can uncheck the ones I don't want. So this one looks really nice. This one sold for $350, 1,500 square feet. So this one seems kind of like an anomaly. So I always read the seller remarks as well. Very motivated seller, bring your offer. It actually sold for $15,000 below list, $226 a square foot, and it was on the market for 163 days total combined, and 71 continuous. Do you guys know the difference between CDOM and DOM? Okay. So the continuous days on market could be listings that could have been canceled, relisted with another agent, relisted with that same agent after being canceled, expired, it could be pending, and then back on, any of those factors.
So if it goes from one agent to another new agent, it'll still continue?
As long as it's under 30 days from the period it was canceled to the time it was relisted. So if it's been over 30 days, they'll reset to 0 and it'll show as a previous listing. Yeah.
And then another thing to keep in mind, sometimes if it's a flip, sometimes what an agent will do is to list the property, but put an exclusion from the MLS, which makes the days accumulate as opposed to using the temporarily, not the temporarily off market, but the
Instruction to withhold marketing.
yes. And so how an agent enters it into the MLS can make a big difference on the cumulative days on market.
Completely. The other trick, if you have one, the seller needs to do work, and you've had it on, you can temporarily off market it. And if it's sat TO'd for 30 days, you can then cancel it, and it will cancel back on the original TO date, and you can reset the days on market.
Starts fresh.
I have a listing that we're doing that with right now because we had to wait for a second bankruptcy lien to get cleared after we sat in escrow for 2 months with the listing. So that's always fun. Granted, so this one looks a little funky to me right now. Looking
It's
at
an older home. That one was built in 65.
Okay.
And that other subdivision was built in 1990. So I have
Gotcha.
no idea with it.
So since I already have 6 solds over there, this one sat on for so long, it looks really nice, but it seems like a weird situation. I might exclude it from the comps. I'll probably just uncheck it now, and if I need to add it again, I will. So you would just uncheck it there. I'll go down to this one. So this one was also one of the older ones. 1985 on here. This one was on the market 2 days. Larger, more expensive, $1,695, $500,000. 2 small dogs, give agent a call. Wall sconces, mirrors do not convey with home. This one sold for $5,000 over list. Let's see if it had multiple offers. And it had 3 offers. So it only went for $5,000 over list with 3 offers. That means it's not a super, super hot market. It's only, a minor amount over list, which is interesting. Let's see something real quick. Short escrow too, which is good. Essentially a 22-day escrow. Up 5. No, I scrolled through the pictures. I know I'm reading first, but get an idea of why it looks so good.
And there's some significance to you saying it's a short escrow?
It's just helpful to relay that to your seller of how the market generally moves there. It means that if 3 offers and one was a 22-day escrow, we don't know the situation. There could have been an offer that was slightly higher and somebody had that was a longer offer or a contingent offer. But with 3, it only went $5,000 over and it was 22 days, which indicates that the seller could have wanted a faster escrow and better terms more than price in this scenario. Because with 3, usually we'll see them go more than such a small bump over, unless the other 2. But keep in mind, just because there's 3 offers doesn't mean they were all good. One could be a $450,000 cash lowball. That happens all the time. And then the seller or the seller's agent will use that to negotiate the other offers up, even though the other one is irrelevant. But yeah, this one looks like it was fully remodeled in a really nice way. I could see why this one would sell fast. So, and bear in mind, this one's about 200 square foot less than the one, 100, not even 50. Okay, so that's a great comp right there, 500, and it sold in April of this year, which is great. So now we have our active. This one seems kind of funky. 317 a square foot. It's been on the market since the 25th, and then there's a tenant in it as well. It says the tenant can move very quickly, but it's been on 14 days. Small lot. They just reduced the price to $100. It's a big price reduction right there, guys. That's really gonna get them a buyer. Oh man.
It shows up as a price reduction though, and sometimes that'll trigger other.
Yeah, but
Criteria.
seriously, $100. Come on, guys. Looks like tennis band 1800. Unfortunately, this is our only active right now, so I'll always still bring it because it can show the sellers what's on the market. I might not necessarily use it as a comp if the one that I'm in doesn't look like it once I walk through it. Remember that we are not looking for like quality in these comps. So if the house that you're comping is fully remodeled, we're not only pulling fully remodeled comps. We need to pull some comps that are not fully remodeled because we haven't seen the house in person, right? We don't know how quality the remodel really is. Some people are like, oh yeah, I did a great job on it, and you go in there and it looks like someone DIY'd stuff they should have been grouting tile with like a pickaxe or something. Like it just doesn't look good at all. So we need to always make sure that we're bringing the data from both sides of the spectrum to it. And that way when the seller's house isn't as nice as they think, we have this one that's actually gorgeous, and we say, this is what it would sell for if it was fully done and gorgeous, and this is what it would sell for if it was trash. Do you fall somewhere right here? So we'll probably bring that active. This one's a lot smaller, and what's kind of crazy is for 200 square feet less, and more recently, it sold for $15,000 less than this house. But that was $340 a square foot. Bacon Go show this is not a flip. So much says nice. Someone did a new home 3 years ago. 1426, quarter of an acre, which is great. It was only in the market 4 days, and it went for 6,000 over, 5,000 over.
There's a pending that's not showing up on your map for some reason.
Okay. 5 offers on this one as well. So this one had 5 offers and only went for about 5,000 over as well. So what does that indicate about how the market works there? High demand, but the price isn't going up with a lot of offers. We've seen 2 now that had multiple offers and only went above 5,000.
Right.
Right. So I'll leave that one in too. Let's see if the pending is how many bathrooms does it have? Bedrooms?
Oh, I think it's a 3-2. You want the address?
I should have added a 4th here anyway. No, because if I search for it, there we go. We'll just use those ones too. Should have been using those to begin with. Sorry, that was something I really should have done. You should have added, if we're not having enough with just 3 and 3, usually add a 4th bedroom to see, because we'll have similar square footage houses with 4 bedrooms. Sometimes up to 5, but I think 5 makes it funky. The rooms are
I
tiny.
should add a bunch more for you.
Yeah. So there's another one. Reasonable offers to be reviewed. Exterior stays still air. This one was on the market 66 days. This sold for $539, $340 a square foot. So we'll definitely include that one. This one didn't sell. It's been on the market for 66 days. Like this. And it's a trust sale. So, nice. $430. It's a pretty low one. Closed after 44 days on the market. $261 a square foot. Conditions. So this one was a canceled that we're going to include. And this was a bid house. It looks like. Oh yeah. Looks like opportunity.
Investor special.
Pending 529. Okay. So usually we dig into these really deeply. We're going to include all these ones because they all look like they could work. And from there, Kayla's going to take them. And she's going to click the CMA button right here. It'll take all the ones that are checked. And from there, I usually print out one of these as well, the CMA portrait or landscape, because I think it's a really simple way to bring it to a seller. and then I also do a full cloud CMA. But this way, for the more higher like Ds, the driver type personalities, fast-paced people, they can look at the sheet and say, cool, I see the median, I see everything here, looks good, here you go. And then they take that.
Is that a report, Chris, or did you just?
So the way you click that, you just click CMA button,
I know that.
and then it's CMA, you go CMA portrait,
Right.
or whichever one you want, and
That's
you
the
just
one I use.
hit the go button. So, however, the other one that I always use is Cloud CMA as well. So you click Cloud CMA here, and now Kayla can take it back over.
So that's a short, quick one, the first one, and the
Yeah,
cloud
that's what
CMA is
we-
the long one.
I kind of consider that a summary.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for me, a lot of times that's what I'll have, and then the more detailed one is the one that the client has.
Yeah. The bottom line, I realize we're taking up a lot of time from the class here, so we would spend a lot more time with looking at the pricing of how houses can be priced based on all
Mine will
that.
be pretty quick, so
Okay.
if you have anything else that you felt you needed to add, don't worry about it.
Okay. So from there, you'll go in and you'll look at the average price per square foot of all those houses, and you'll get an idea of where you want to price in the market. Generally, we like to price lower because the market will determine the accurate price of the house. Most of the time. Certain markets, that's not always accurate, but most of the time that's the case. And so really our goal with bringing all the comps and the CMAs to our clients is for them to determine whether or not they want their house to sell at a quick pace or not. It's not for us to tell them what they want to do or anything like that. It's for them to look at the comps and know the data and then self-discover that, hey, I do want my house to sell fast. I do need to do it like this. And it's just our job to guide them to that point.
Can
So-
you suggest the lower end and say this will most likely promote a bidding war?
Yes, you can. I try not to give false expectations of a bidding war, though, because when you give that and then we only get 2 or 3 offers, it doesn't feel like that bidding war that they were really excited about. So I always try to just level the expectations of what could happen and let them know that the possibility is very real that they might not get multiple offers as well. However, from what we've seen on the market has showed us that houses that are priced here generally get more than 1 offer and go this much to this much above list price. So I always make it coming from the market and not me. So I never shape it. I see this. The market has showed us that this is what generally happens here. And that way, yeah.
And Chris, I think that's really good, letting the market be the expert, and then one of the things that we can do is we can say, what we've found from the market is that if we, and the words that I always like to use, if we price in the sweet spot, we're going to get more activity than if we're outside of the sweet spot. And the information that we've gotten says that the sweet spot is here. Now, what would you like to do? And that's what Chris is talking about, letting the client make the decision. We've given the information, the client makes the decision.
And you can do some real diggers, like some kind of like one-liners about whether or not they want to price their home to sell or they want to price their home to sell their neighbor's house. Stuff like that. They can be kind of fun depending on the right person. Like, you don't want to use that on everybody.
Analytical, it doesn't work.
Right. They're going to look at you like, what did you just say to me? Really? So, it's just know some one-liners too that you can kind of throw in there about it and know their situation. It's really important to know the situation. Like if we have a contingent buyer, we want to price really, really aggressively for a contingent buyer. There's a whole strategy for those because they're going to be contingent. And my strategy for contingents is waiting until they find the house and we're priced so aggressively low and we have everything done. We have all our inspections done because we want to give that listing agent the house they're writing the confidence that they're not going to have issues coming up. We have photography, we have everything. We're ready to go live immediately. It takes the stress out because a lot of people are worried about that process of being stressed about finding a house while theirs is on the market. And so as long as we can price it below the rest, we won't have a problem with the contingency. So little stuff like
I have
that.
a question for you.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion on when you go to the next page here, it shows recommended list price, and you can type something in. Do you recommend leaving that blank?
I leave it blank. I
Okay,
leave it
that's what
completely
Jeremy
blank.
did as well, but I wasn't sure.
Like I take all the pages out of the Cloud CMA too. For me, I take all that stuff out because I have my own listing presentation that goes with me.
Right.
So my Cloud CMA is just all of the comps in a really pretty format and a map page, and basically that's it. However, there is 100 tools in here that are really nice because not all of us have a Lindsay that can make really nice listing presentations for you. So you can use this as your full listing presentation.
Don't we all have a list?
So, and then after you go to the CMA portrait, it'll take you right back to the comps page most of the time.
Well, not when everyone's watching. Then it won't.
Yeah, then our MLS is just going to say no. There we go. Now I'll go back here. So basically that's it. You'll have a lot more populated neighborhoods though. The most important thing is to really click on each of these houses that you're going to use and go through them and make sure that they're going to be an accurate comp, they're falling in, and there's no anomalies. Because there's definitely going to be anomalies in here. Like there might be one, like for example, if we had the one in Madera that would be sky high. Let me see if I can find an anomaly real quick. See, this one was 114 days on the market. And so if we ever see one that's kind of outside the normal movement of the market, we want to identify why. What was going on with this house? See, the seller may need contingency to purchase a home. They're buying out of state. 114 days. 98, it actually went under list. You know, maybe we look at what was the escrow period. Or, here you go, it was pending from the 12th. Well, it's not even that bad. And they price reduced it. They started $499. Worst case scenario, guys, if you have a question, what happened with this house?
Looks like they started too high.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it indicates. But if you have a question, you call the agent and ask them about their process. I've had agents call me on my listings and say, yeah, so tell me about this. What's the price of blah, blah, blah. And they just walk them through it, and they're usually very, 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 very grateful if you share the information. So not all will. Some agents think you're up to no good, and you know, we'll be very combative towards you, but yeah. Essentially, that's it. We'll have, I'm sure, in the future, another, like a full-on class that's all about pricing. That's the short and sweet of it.
Thank you,
Thank
Chris.
you.
I appreciate it.
Oh,
Sorry.
it's okay.
All right, so back to Cloud CMA. You would type in your client name here. And then what was that address that we were working on, guys? The address?
763
763.
Terrace Parkway.
And then this will autofill most of the information for you, so you just type in until it pops up. And that was the one in Loomis, correct? All right. And then most of the time it will pull up square footage in beds and baths. I guess it's not 100% foolproof because this one's not pulling that up. Let's see if we still have our tax records up. 1723. Yeah, it's always good. This is what Jeremy would do too. He would pull up tax records and the neighborhood trends. Alrighty, and then that was a 3. Okay. Perfect. So then once you have that filled out, your comps will all auto-populate from MLS, and you'll click Fetch Listings. All right, and then this is that section that Chris was saying he always leaves blank. Jeremy always leaves it blank as well, but this is where you can put a recommended sales price, and that will come up in your report. If you leave it blank, it's not going to look like there's something missing. It just won't have that field in there at all. And then it'll bring you down to your comps here where you can see them all on a map and you can double check them. All of the details and pictures can be pulled up here too. So if you look through these comps again and you're like, oh, whoops, I didn't want this one here, you can remove them here as well without having to go back to MLS and alter your list. So if those were all good, then you would select Customize Report. All right, and this gives you a ton of options. So Chris uses a custom template, which I'll show you how to add in custom pages if you guys want to do that as well. But say you'd never used it before and you wanted to use one of the layouts that they have here, you go to Template, and then Built In. And then looks like, did you delete some of the templates that came with it?
Oh,
Maybe.
this is mine, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Looks familiar, didn't it?
there's a really good chance I did.
Okay, so ordinarily there would be a lot more templates that would basically describe certain
I
situations.
don't think I did.
Maybe not?
All. See if all has any.
Okay. Yep, that shows the same, but it looks like these were custom named. But either way, you'll see different scenarios similar to if you watch the buyer instruction video when we made a buyer presentation that's on our website. It kind of goes through why they're named what they're named. But yeah, you would just click something that appeals to your situation. So if you wanted something that was a pre-list package or an appraiser's report, you would select that. For now, we'll just go with whatever Chris normally uses. And then if you are switching through a template that you've never used, I would go through line by line and open up the pages. You just double click them and you can look at it. And then you can pick apart what you want to keep and what you want to get rid of. And you'd get rid of things just by selecting this little minus button. And if you wanted to add things, there's all different additional content that you could toggle through, and you just click the plus button. And this is automatically going to populate at the bottom, so you want to make sure that you're picking it up and dragging it into the correct order.
There's a ton of different stuff you can use in there. I mean, they have more data and more pages than almost any other site I've seen, and most of it's free. Those Power Pack ones, I believe, you have to pay for, but
Yeah, but there's several others.
yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely do a little test presentation and read through them, because you can make things totally different. And a lot of people are just kind of shortcutting this and just clicking the save templates. So, I mean, taking the time to do that will make yours look different, because several people do use this. Then you would go to themes, and this is where you could choose the color and the design. And there is a ton of options for colors. And one thing that's kind of hard to see is in between this big list of colors, you'll see little headers that say modern style or franchise style, and a lot of people brush past those, but these little things here, each one of those, it's showing you colors for that different style.
I try to stick to KW colors.
Yeah.
KW, so don't want to go blue or green, you know? Exactly.
Yeah, there's still different options too that you can do, within Keller Williams color palette. You can do gray and black, red and gray. So that's where you would look at that. I don't want to mess up Chris's settings here and start changing all of his templates.
Throw in a monkey wrench.
Layout's really important up there too, I think. Next to theme, the very top up there.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah, so this is where you could, ordinarily it's going to default to just one comp on each page, and then some of them roll into multiple pages. So if you want to condense and you don't want to be presenting a novel that has 50 pages when you're in front of your client, then you can change them to 4-column, 3-column, 2-column, and manipulate how you want that done.
I use the max data because most people that actually take the time to read this are max data kind of people. So that way it's there for them, and we go through it together, only looking at the comps and the pictures, mostly just the sold, days on market, stuff like that. But then when I leave this on their counter, the max data people, the people that are very analytical will read the whole thing. They'll be like, oh, I'm really curious here. So
Yeah.
you can read about it.
Another thing to note too is if you choose the 2 photo options, this is going to default to showing all of the photos that are, on the listing. So if you don't click the 2 photo, you're going to have probably 2 pages of photos for everything.
You get a ton of photos.
Yeah.
Which can be useful.
What did I do here?
You split your screen.
Yeah, apparently. There we go. Okay. Anyway, and then also as far as covers go, you can design custom covers if you pay for it.
Mm-hmm. There are covers that you don't have to pay for too. Well, not anymore, I guess. Now it says premium. It did not used to be premium.
You can make a custom PDF page without paying for it, but if you want to use their premium templates, then
I used to be able to just click those ones. I used to use that Ivy fountain one a lot.
Yeah.
personally, I think better than that, because you can make something like this that's just a picture behind and text super easily in Sketchhouse. But the map that auto-populates actually where it is, I think is more valuable, and it's the free one, so.
Looks more accurate, too.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's cool.
So that's that. Who has questions so far about anything that we see here? Nothing? Seems pretty straightforward. Cool. And then if anybody forgets how to get into this, I do have a video that's on our website that shows how you actually get from MetroList to this and how to format everything.
Someone in Italy.
Perfect. All right, so then we'll go to how to save this. So you click Publish Report at the bottom. All right, and then it'll publish here.
Looks like you're pretty busy, my friend.
Yeah. All right, and while we wait for that to load, we'll come back to it. If we go under this little acronym right here that shows your initials, you'd go to Custom Pages if you wanted to add something on your own. Like say you made a really cool page in Sketchhouse, or you made something on another document. It just needs to be a PDF. Doesn't matter where it comes from. This is where you would come add that. And there's also customizable pages within Cloud CMA, and this is where you would edit those. Like you can add information to the agent resume page that auto-fills in some of the templates, or the client testimonials, cover letter, marketing action plan, anything like that, and you can upload a PDF here. And when you do that, on the left side where we were showing how to add pages, there's a custom PDF tab, and that's where all of your custom pages are going to show up. So you could basically deconstruct the entire thing and make your own, just like Chris did.
Oh, and then those will always show up. when
Right,
go to
and you can
CMA
use
Cloud.
them anywhere. And then you can save them as a custom template. So the way you would do that, I'll go back to it real quick and show you, like say you added in custom PDFs, they're in your presentation, you have it configured exactly how you want it. I'll show you how to save that so that you don't have to do it again next time. Alrighty, so we'll go back to edit here, and then to customize. All right, then it would be under custom pages right here. And so let's just say you added that in, you really like how all of this looks, it's perfect the way you want it. You'd go here, and then custom, or sorry, save as template right there. I'm not gonna do it because I don't wanna mess up Chris's, but then it would save this as a template and you'd be able to use this again later just by clicking the template. All right. Any questions about saving custom pages or saving templates? No? Okay. All right, so then lastly, we'll just go, I'll use one that's already published of his. You just click View PDF if you want to save it. All right, and then this will give you all of the options if you want to print, if you want to download to your desktop, and then that's how you'd export it. There's also an option if you want to send this to someone. Oh, did they take that away?
So I would view the PDF, download it, and then send it. Or
Right.
no, click the triple dots up top.
Okay, I'm like, there is an
Yeah.
email setting. There we go.
Email
You can
report.
email the report directly.
Yeah.
Because this is a very big file.
Yeah.
And so if you're working with somebody who's not very tech savvy and they're going to be confused by a Google Drive link or something like that, then you'd want to send it this way because then they don't have to go through all of that to download it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So does anyone have any questions? Is there anything that you feel like you want to know about this that I didn't cover? No? Awesome. Ken, do you have anything to add?
I don't, unless anybody has any questions.
I missed the first half hour, sorry I was late, can you go over that again?
You got
The next 7 minutes.
For a small fee.
it. Yeah.
When you say it's on our website, like what website do you mean? Like, do we have the training videos out? Or-
Yes, so kwcapitalvalley.com, that's our office website, and there's a training tab that has all of our pre-recorded class
Okay.
videos, and so the one that I did, the first session of Introduction to Buyers, was about this, and so I went through in depth how to access this, how to build a cart if you wanted to select listings to put into it, and so that'll give you kind of the beginning of this.
And it's important that you play with it and customize it. And, once you've got the template, then it's real easy to just put together a presentation. But kind of work through, figure out what looks good and, what you would like and kind of think from the client's perspective. What things are they really looking for and then create the presentation that way.
I recently did this and I'm thinking, well, maybe I didn't quite get it right because it's been 2 days on the market and I haven't gotten any calls yet. So I'm just like, what did I do wrong?
Something to keep in mind too, a lot of the time we'll sign a listing, it'll be in our inventory for a month, 2 months, whatever it may be, using a seller instruction to withhold marketing form, make sure that we're not tracking days on market, and the pricing will shift slightly. We'll get comps that start to trend down in the neighborhood or up. So the sellers are going to be watching the market because their house is getting ready to sell. And if we're not watching the market just like they are, even for that listing in the inventory, it doesn't make us look good. So make sure once you price it that you're live pricing until you're live. Basically,
That's a
you're
good
watching
one.
to make sure that you don't need to make an adjustment or shift your strategy at all. So if a new one comes on, make sure that you take note of it and maybe let those sellers know so they don't think that you're not paying attention. So
Another thing that I would always recommend when you have a conversation with your client, prepare them for some of the things that can happen. One of the things that I've always felt is important, because we never know where the market is going to go. We know what the predictability is of where the market's going to go, but things can change. I mean, a world situation can change the market dramatically. We've seen that. And so one of the things that I always encourage in the presentation is to say, if we don't get any activity, we should revisit and consider changing the price. Now, if we're saying that at the very, very beginning, and we get offers, great, we don't have to. But if we're not getting any activity, hey, remember what we talked about? We're at that 2-week marker. I would recommend that we consider modifying our price so that we don't get stale on the market. Okay? So those are the kinds of things that I always encourage to build into the presentation so that way if something does happen, you can say, remember when we talked about.
You can even set the expectation too ahead of time that you will be reviewing right before you go live, and that quick CMA that Chris showed everybody would be a great tool for that. You can even mention that you would pull one of those for them right before the live date and just double check that everything is still the same or if nothing's changed. Awesome.
I have a question about that. How did you get those listings, your comparatives? Did you hand pick them or did let the machine pick them?
for that, I always handpick. I never let the machine because the machine is essentially doing the same thing as a Zillow or a Redfin, and that takes the agent out of agent for me. So I handpick what I see, and that way I know it when I go to talk to my seller about it. I've read the remarks, I've looked at the multiple offers. I kind of tend to know each home situation, so as we're going through the cloud CMA and we're turning this page in the book, I can then talk about each house. I'm like, yeah, this house actually, I usually remember.
Yeah.
It has this.
It's going to start fading, I'm sure, but I usually remember, so usually I can share that with them and kind of fill them in on what this house did, why it did what it did, tell them that this one was funky or this one's an outlier, and that's especially helpful for the ones that sell for higher than what they should have, because we definitely get those from copy, do we not? We get houses that sold and you're like, that poor sucker overpaid for that house. I don't, like, it happens. We definitely see it.
Well, and another thing, just thinking of, as we're looking at those, did you guys notice the difference in the pictures between some of those listings?
Yeah.
And those are opportunities, too, of what do we bring to the table? I bring good pictures to the table, and that can make a huge difference in getting somebody to the house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Smartphone pictures.
Always talk about that and how using it's going to price better than those ones that have the bad pictures just because of that alone. And, reaffirm them that the goal is to get as many people through as possible to create multiple interests. Sometimes you can reference back, was that a Eddie Murphy movie? Haunted House, I think. And his wife calls him when he's on a showing.
Yeah, they forget.
I used that one in a listing appointment recently. Because his wife calls him when he's in a showing, and he talks to his wife like she's a buyer that wants to write an offer on the house. And the buyers that are in there on the showing weren't really into it. Then all of a sudden they're like, no, we want it. We can write an offer right now.
That's right.
And so then they write an offer. And so, you always talk about that. Like, you can reference little funny things like that. Because you guys laugh.
Yeah.
The sellers laugh. They're like, oh, that's funny. I get it. There's going to be multiple people in there, so maybe it's going to drive someone to write an offer that was on the fence about it.
Right.
And so, weaving in those little stories and talking about how getting as many people through it is the most important thing. Is really, really the key. And pricing it lower will always get more people through. The way I like to say right now is there's three major factors: is price, marketing, and I have to get the other one. Well, there's three reasons the way that the house won't sell right now, and it's price, marketing, the way it shows. And right now, marketing, in the past year, marketing has kind of been
not a big deal besides pictures. Like all the marketing, extra marketing agents say they do generally right now in our market, I think, with technology isn't getting a ton more buyers through there. It's mostly about how it's priced and the way it shows. And I say the one thing you can control is, how it shows and what the market control. You can control how it's priced and how it shows, but it's important they keep it showing well and that we price it well, and then it will sell. The marketing's out the window. So price will get the most people through.
Awesome. All right, guys, so that basically wraps this up. This is pretty easy to use. If anyone thinks of any questions or wants help maybe working with Sketchhouse to make some custom pages, let me know. And anyone who missed our Sketchhouse workshop, I have some extra workbooks that give you tutorials on how to use Sketchhouse. So you can use that to make some custom pages if you'd like.
All right.
Awesome.
Very good.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
Good job, guys.